he's going to keep you and the coaching staff on through at least the end of the season.
Yeah, I think that, and we all know that, obviously we're struggling to win football games. I think that we understand that. Obviously, it's a very competitive business. I think that, we have an owner that, wants a good product for our fans, wants to win. There's no mistake about it, and we haven't done it. And I think that when those things happen, these type of decisions are going to be made. Dave and I had a good relationship. It's not like we haven't been through this before. Meaning, people that have been in the league. It's obviously unfortunate, but it is part of the profession, and we wish, like I said, I spoke to Dave, and I wish him and his family the best of luck. We had a good relationship. It's very difficult, and my focus right now is not on all the things that may be going on the outside, but trying to get this team to win football games and be there for the coaches and the players, and do my best job there.
Is there any weight off your shoulders, though, in knowing that, if there's going to be a change, it would be at the end of the year and you don't have to worry week to week?
I'm not the type of person that really, again, things that, I've learned this a long time ago. I've always tried to, the things that you can control and what you're committed to, and the commitment I have for the players and the organization, even the fans, the support. I mean, I'm committed to doing what I have to do and trying to get this team to win. And I think that was my only focus. I'm not one of those guys that is going to say, I wonder if this is going to happen or if that's going to happen, because where we are right now as a team, I'd be selling everyone short, and I'm not going to be that guy, and I never have been that guy. So, that's where my focus is on, trying to get a team that's playing this, hard, that we're coming up short on plays, making the plays at the right time. And I can't ask for more from the players and the coaches as far as what they're doing. So I've got a ton of respect for them. You guys know how I feel about this team, and I'm just trying to do the best job I can.
Joey?
Oh, hey, Doug, real quick, do you have an update on what you're going to do at quarterback this week?
You know what? There's been so much going on. I haven't been able to, we're virtual right now, being out of the building, which is, it's challenging, even though we've done a lot of things outside the building prior to, but I have not been able to talk to the players. So and I apologize for this. I really haven't had the time, but I'm going to talk to the players first before I talk about it publicly. I know that we all have a good relationship. I hope you guys can understand that. But that's what I'm going to do, and as soon as I do it, then obviously we'll get it to you guys.
No problem. Doug.
Thanks, D-Rock. As a reminder, please mute your lines when you are not asking a question. We'll go to Gene next.
Hey, Doug. I'm just wondering, what do you expect to see from the players in terms of focus? I mean, obviously they know there's going to be an organizational change of some type next year. There's going to be somebody different running the front office. Do you think players kind of do the same thing you do, that they not really worry about that stuff because, number one, they can't control it, and number two, they still got to put good stuff out on tape. They don't want to just be, going through the motions just because there's a change in the organization.
Well, I'll tell you, outside of prior to the change, Gene, and I think you might have asked this question, or someone might have asked this question to me prior to. It's kind of, maybe John Reed asked me this question. How do you keep this thing going? How do you keep, these things, moving forward, and when you're not winning football games and everything. So, I've addressed the players, prior to this, I would say multiple times of, hey, this is the situation we're in. We're the only ones that are going to be able to battle it out. And it's important that, we support each other. We stay together. We continue to work. We continue to push. We continue to see, to break through to win football games. Obviously, change is going to occur, and it's just not. I wasn't talking about Dave or myself or the players, but naturally, when you're not winning, there's always going to be some type of change. Players, coaches, management, something's going to happen. So, a lot of us that have the ability that we want to stay in this league and continue playing, whether you're a player or a coach, a lot of it's going to be how you handle this situation. Now, for the players that are going to be here, and the players, this is going to be an experience that is going to really challenge them professionally to make sure that they're doing everything they possibly can, and that's going to be on film. And people are going to look at you and evaluate you of how you reacted, what you said publicly, how you played the game, how you took the coaching. The same with the coaches. What have they done, and what their commitment is, and what are they focused on. So I told them I'm committed to making you better every single day, whether it's the coaches or the players, and trying to get us to get over this hump and try to get a win. So these things were talked about because I think they're things that are obvious, and I've always taken pride in trying to address maybe what some people may say the elephant in the room or things that are going on. And the team has responded very well. I mean, I have no, like I said before, I don't have any issues with this team as far as doing their business and being professional, trying to get on the field, getting their treatments, playing hurt, playing injured, playing banged up, playing multiple players. Same with the coaches. It could become, it's difficult to try to get people ready that are just coming in the building or that haven't played. But, all these challenges are things that you go through when you're not winning football games. So we've addressed it, and that's one of the things that, we talked about with the players, and I'll continue to talk about with the players until the season's over.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Gene. I think we're still hearing someone typing on their computer, so either could that person mute themselves or take it easy on their laptop. That would be great. We'll head to John Reed next.
How you doing, Coach?
All right. Good, John.
Let me ask you a question. I mean, I think back in February at the combine, you had said that you were going to be working a little more cooperatively with Dave. Why do you think it didn't work? I mean, at that point, did you feel that you at no point did you feel that the roster was a little too young? Or I know that you guys had like salary cap issues and those kind of things, but being a little bit more collaborative. I mean, what was your thought process about the roster and how young it is, and so many young players trying to win football games?
Yeah, well, I don't think we expected, obviously, the situations of the shutdown and the off season and development of the players. I felt that when you look at it, it's not a secret. We didn't have a lot of space. What I'm saying, when with cap space, we had tough decisions. But I thought, when I look at this draft and I look at this draft class, we did work together on it, and we worked hard with the coaching staff and the scouting staff, and we put an emphasis on some things that we feel that we've gotten. And I feel, like I said before, with some of this this past class specifically, that some of these players have shown us promise. I think at the end of the day, I'm always going to look back and say, how would they have performed if we did have an off season? Because I think that's a legitimate thing, and it's not an excuse. And you see these players, that are starting to come along, and it's not, the challenge, like I've always said multiple times, has been, we want to get them fast enough to be able to make these plays that are going to be differences in the games. And at times they've had made some of those plays, but consistently, we haven't been able to get that done. And I think that, the question that you asked, I can talk about specifically, like you said, with the combine and this year's class, but I don't have the time really to kind of go back and really put everything together on, where we've been, where we are. I think that stuff comes afterwards, after the season. But I know we worked extremely hard to get this group. I like this group. I think you guys have seen production out of them, whether they've been draft picks or free agents. And, I think it's a good locker room. I think that these guys are all in. We got good news with Hamilton last night. It's not as bad as we thought. I think he'll still go on IR, but it's definitely not anything that's quite long term, which was the concern last night. So that's a good thing. And that's how I feel. So I'm trying to really focus on those guys, those young guys, and trying to make sure that I'm doing the best job I can to make them get better, and then to also develop a callous about themselves, with how much this season may be hurting them, and to remember that and to build on that, to get that chip and to make them better players, because I think a lot of these guys, that we've taken, have a chance to be in this league for a while, depending on how they still develop, and that's an important part of the game.
And this is a little just a follow-up, but how do you approach 5 games when you know your future is uncertain in Jacksonville? Is it you don't think about it, or what do you do?
Here's the approach is, John, for me is that, at the end of the day, okay, you might, the results aren't what you wanted. I understand that. At the end of the day, when you're in a community that I love, I really do. I mean, you're talking about family. You're talking about a lot of things. So I'm in a community that I truly love the people here. We have an owner that wants to win. I think that's awesome. I really do. I mean, he wants to win, and there's no mistake about it. And when you go out and you're filling up your car with gas, and you're going to a convenience store, or you're going out to dinner, there's a sense of, you want to hang it's embarrassing. I mean, I feel that way, at times. And the only thing I have to rely on to make sure I can walk around and be a good example is to know that I fought my ass off, that I've done everything I possibly can to make sure that I am doing my job to the best of my ability to try to win football games. Because that's the only thing at the end of the day, and I've learned this a long time ago, whatever happens with the results and the record, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to look at yourself in the mirror. And you're going to have to say, hey, listen, did I give everything I had? And if you did, that's it. The results are what they are, and you did. But if you don't, I don't know how you can ever live with yourself. And I've addressed this before with, players and multiple teams that I've been a part of, whether it be Syracuse or whether it be Buffalo as a head coach. And I tried to explain to the players this. When I was a player, okay, there's some things that I wish I could have done a better job of that would have kept me in the league, and maybe, I maybe had a better career, which I will have with a cup of coffee. And I'll never know if I would have made those adjustments, what would have happened with my life. So on a daily basis, from a professional level, I live with that regret daily. And the worst thing you can do in life is to ever have any regret. I think it's a shitty way to really feel about yourself, and it's a terrible way. And when I started coaching, did I make mistakes? Yes, but I made them, with the right sense of mind, meaning that I was trying to do my best, and I would try different things. So for me, it's always been about doing the best job you can. Don't make any excuses, all right? Because if you regret something that you did that you didn't do the best to figure it out, I have a hard time, me personally, I would have a hard time living with myself. So that's how I am wound as a person.
Thank you, Coach.
Oh, no problem, John.
Thanks, John. We'll go to John Shipley, and then Mark Long, and then Gary Smith.
Hey, Coach. I just got 2 short questions for you. First one, Gardner was obviously inactive yesterday, and Jake was the backup. Was that more with Gardner just not being 100% and you not seeing that full week practice, like you said?
Well, we talked about it during the week. So Gardner and I had the conversation, and we were just working through, what would be the best situation for him. And at the end of the day, we talked, and it was on my plate, and we just felt that, hey, listen, another day of working with the strength and conditioning coaches, rather than being out there on Sunday, was a good situation for him. So that's how we came to that decision.
Okay, thanks, Coach. And then just the last one. When you watched the tape, did anything else stand out to you about how Mike Glennon played yesterday?
I thought Mike made some good throws, some accuracy throws. I think that, I think he took some shots, which I was happy with. I think there was a little rust. Obviously he hasn't played a game since, I think, 17 or 18, since he played. I think there was a lot of good things. So, again, we'll just see how this thing goes, and I'll talk to all those quarterbacks probably sometime within the next 24 hours.
Thanks, Coach.
Sure.
Thanks, Jeff. We'll go to Mark Long and then Gary.
Hey, Doug. Following up on something earlier, you were saying how you really like this group, and you talked about how great the locker room is. How attractive is this GM job? I mean, when you look at the draft picks you guys got and the number of promising young players, and you got an owner who's willing to spend big, how attractive? And then secondly, what is your relationship? How has your relationship developed with Trent Baalke?
Yeah, I think a lot of things have been, cleaned up, and that's an effort on everyone. I think you're correct. I think, Shad has said multiple times, hey, whatever you need, so from the support standpoint of whatever the team needs or whatever the players need, it's never been an issue. So I think that's attractive. I think when you look at, the dead money and things of that nature, where we are now, it's good. So, yeah, I would think, I'm not involved in that world as much, Mark, as far as like, how do you sell, a position like that? If I was, I look at it more from the coaching perspective, of things that you have to do. But I would think that you'd be able to go out there and there's a lot of positives, there's a lot of positives about it. I think there's a lot of good positioning about it. I think there's a foundation. I think that, there's a couple of things that you got to clear up, roster-wise. But we knew that going in, and I think, you guys can see that. And I think something, I think it'll attract many people. I mean, who wouldn't want to work for someone that's going to, give you all the support that you need? I mean, that's what you want. I think, and then my relationship with Trent, the only time I've ever talked to Trent is when I interviewed out in San Francisco. So he didn't hire me. So that's one thing. So, but over the course of the time here, I've got to know him, and it's just been a very professional relationship. Of he's more of, hey, what can I do, or how can I help you, and looking at players, looking at people like that. But he's been very professional, very has good insight. But again, I think this relationship is just started. It's not something that's been there before.
Just so you know, I laughed at your Trent joke. I was just on mute, but that was funny.
It was funny. That's why it was. It's the truth.
But yeah, it's the truth. Sometimes the truth is funny.
It's the truth.
Quip.
Yeah. So yeah. I'm just saying, yeah.
All right. Thanks, Mark. We'll wrap up with Gary Smith.
Hey, Doug, going forward these last 5 games, do you know if you'll have any inclination to maybe if a guy is healthy and you don't want to risk it, are you going to shut anybody down, or do you kind of roll the dice, play kind of free and loose and go out there and win as many as you can?
There's no doubt that we are going to try to win every single game that we play. I can tell you that. That's not a question. So whatever we have to do to win, we're going to be able to do. And I think that getting these guys healthy, getting them to play, getting them back. We're holding out hope for some of these guys that to come back to help us. From an IR standpoint. and as soon as they're ready to go, we're going to bring them back and play. So there's no doubt that's the direction that we're headed as coaches and players.
Hey, thanks, Coach.
Sure, no problem.
All right, thanks everyone. We'll hopefully see everyone on Wednesday morning.